Hello there, and welcome to Inspired by Fellowships, understanding the process and developing relevant qualities and achievements. My name is Ryan Lewis, and I'm the National Fellowships Advisor at Mount Holyoke College.
And I'm Christine Overstreet. I'm the Director of Fellowships at Amherst College.
And I'm Margaret Lamb. I'm the Director of Fellowships and Postgraduate Scholarships at Smith College.
The presentation you're about to see is a discussion about fellowships as a process that involves more than just the fellowship's applicant, a process of thinking about how to develop attributes in a variety of categories, thinking beyond one particular brand or type, and perhaps offering a way for you, the viewer, to consider ahead of time how you can develop into a person you are inspired by, and maybe win a fellowship along the way. What you'll now see is the three of us in conversation alongside PowerPoint slides that we've all had a hand in putting together. As you might imagine, we will come to the discussion from our respective experiences. The ways in which our colleges talk about academic and civic engagement vary, and the reviews from our respective offices and departments can vary as well. But for the most part, we're in the same business. We invite those of you watching to learn more about fellowships on your own campuses. All right, let's get into it. One thing to note before we go, there's no one size fits all here. We're not talking about a particular fellowship award, but rather thinking about how an award for a graduate degree might look the same as an award for an international abroad experience. But the process of how to get there might be the same. So everyone's going to have a different pathway to their goal, but we want you to kind of consider thinking about this as a loop in the pathway.
When we advise students about fellowships, one of the messages we emphasize over and over is the fellowships are about you. And exploring and preparing for fellowships is exploring and preparing for the next stages of your education, exploring and preparing for the rest of your life. Fellowships are most powerful when they're aligned with your goals and are a means to permit you to do something that you really, really, really want to do. So get started by exercising your intellect, immersing yourself in your academic work and campus life, and challenging yourself with experiences and projects on campus and off campus. Design is a really important part of fellowships, and it's your design. So fellowships are choices among many others. And when you're at the design stage, you have to really engage your imagination about fellowship possibilities. You're essentially trying on fellowship possibilities for size and fit. Do they fit your goals? Do they fit your qualifications? Are you eligible for the particular fellowships? And like any design process, once you have some initial ideas, you've got to prototype them. You've got to figure out what would refine them, make them better. And collaboration is key to any fellowship and design process. So you're using collaboration to evaluate and refine that design, your personal design for fellowships. And then you're just going to work on that design until it really does fit.
And a way to think about working on that design is to develop it, to develop your fellowship plans. So when we think about developing a design, you want to think about your immediate goals, your intermediate goals, your long-term goals, and prepare a realistic timeline for your application. So this will involve both thinking about the activities and things that you want to do to prepare yourself to be a strong candidate for a fellowship, and to think about how you're going to map out the components of writing the application, and both the parts that you need to do as an individual and the parts for which you need to rely on collaboration with other people. There are essays you'll need to write for any fellowship application that will require many iterations of feedback and rewriting. There are aspects of putting together those essays about which you'll want to consult with faculty members as well as your fellowship advisor. So you need to allow time for that. There are other people who will support and collaborate with you as you're preparing to apply. And all of this requires forethought and thinking ahead about how much time do you need to do each piece. This is all part of developing your design.
So we really want to emphasize that there are three parties in the fellowship process. It's your fellowship, it's your fellowship process, but you're working in concert with these other parties. The foundations and funders really set the rules of the fellowship competition, but they do so in a way that emphasizes their program's values and aims, that emphasizes the kinds of scholars and fellows that they want to choose. So you have to really think about the foundation and the funders as an important party with whom you have to engage at every point of getting ready to write your application. Because if you're not talking directly and clearly and relevantly to them, your application's not really on course. And how to get your application on course, how to get that conversation gauged properly, that's where your posse of advisors really come in. You try out the sound of what you want to say in conversation with others. So this group of advisors, collaborators, peers, letter writers, you name it, are the people with whom you can refine your thoughts, refine your language, learn to pitch it just right. And because there's so much collaboration here and there is this focus on others, remember to keep yourself in focus, because as you start to develop and align your narrative between your past, your present, and that future, keep in touch with yourself. Don't let others' enthusiasm for something or some aspect of what you're saying distort your own values and your own goals. So keep in touch with yourself in this process.
You are the applicant, and of course, you have to apply. All of this preparation, designing, and developing your ideas will funnel into that application that you're going to submit to the foundation. You have no chance of winning unless you do apply. So every award is distinct, and it's important, in fact, critical to know what the application requirements are, what the pieces of the application are, but also what they're hoping to see in the application that you submit. To understand that, you need to understand something about your selectors. They are the audience for your application. So you need to understand what are the values of the foundation, as Margaret said, what they're looking for and what they're hoping to award. You want to discern whether or not you're right for them and they're right for you. This is something that your advisors can help you to determine. It may be that you'll look into a foundation, see what its values are, and decide that's not the direction you want to go in your life, and it's not the basket into which you want to put your eggs. But it may be that it is. And this is all part of the process as you think about submitting that final application.
So ultimately, actions speak louder than words. Actions are the point. And if you're lucky, if you're in the minority of applicants for any award, you'll get the award, you'll win the prize, and you'll be able to follow through on the actions that you've outlined in your application. I say lucky because the odds are long for winning many of the awards that we advise students about. And there are many who are disappointed in the particular application round? Well, we hope that that first application is going to be the first of many. We all know students who apply for multiple fellowships before they get the award that allows them to do what they really, really want to do. And that goes with the nature of competitive awards. You want them, so do others. So action may be that apply for another award. Action may be moving on with your life and education, which is the bigger point anyway. But actions are the data that will supply or make your case for the next prized opportunity that you go after.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And even if you don't win this award, you still have had experience. You've had a process of putting together the component pieces to getting exactly what you really want to do. And you can use that blueprint, you can use that model, not just for another fellowships application, but for any of the other kinds of opportunities that exist in front of you that are going to be a little bit competitive, like say a job or an internship or some sort of assistantship, or maybe you use it for the next step in your academic career or your professional career to, graduate school or law school or med school or whatever. You've had experience of putting together component pieces to making a very good case for what it is you want to do and how it is you're going to benefit from it and they're going to benefit from you. So now you get a chance to apply this. You apply it to a lot of other opportunities, and maybe you might apply it to another fellowship opportunity. And so how do you know what they are? Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh man, how do I know? Well, part of how you know is you find out from folks who know. You talk with folks like us, fellowships advisors. But you also spend time getting to know the field, what's out there for you. You kind of get a sense of, oh, this kind of award is actually focused on developing my academic chops. This particular award is actually really good for what I want to do as a potential leader in the field that I want to advance in, whether it's a human rights field or an international relations field or what have you. The leadership opportunities here are really great. So getting to know the field that's available to you is really important. Christine, what do you see in here?
Oh, yeah, Ryan, I see so many awards for different kinds of people, or people who are interested in different kinds of things, I should say. One thing that stands out to me as I look at this slide is the Fulbright Award, which offers opportunities to explore globally, to have cultural immersion. The Henry Luce Foundation has an award to do the same in different parts of Asia. The Gates Cambridge Award looks for people who want to make big changes in the world, in any part of the world, and to launch themselves on their way through an education at the University of Cambridge. There are awards for people who are interested in careers in STEM, and there are awards for people who are interested in the arts and humanities. So there are all kinds of foundations looking for people with certain qualifications, certain values, and certain aims. And a fun part of the process is figuring out which one is a good fit for you. It might be one, it might be 5 different award opportunities.
So it might be worth thinking about yourself in a particular category, a category that you want to get better at. Maybe you want to be a better researcher. Maybe you want to be a stronger public leader or someone who has public leadership experience so that you can poise yourself for office someday, elected office someday or something like that. Or perhaps you want to develop your cultural literacy, your cross-cultural literacy, your sense of being a global citizen. These are potential sort of professional toolboxes that you can fill. And so what we want to do right now is kind of sketch out what might a generalized pathway look like through each of these attributes you'd like to enhance.
So becoming a researcher inspired by fellowships. Maybe the first thing I want to just emphasize here is this slide and the ones that follow talk about first year, next year, another year, application year. These may correspond to your college years, starting with your first year and ending in your senior year. But maybe the first year is your junior year. Maybe the first year is the year you graduate. For many, many fellowships, you remain eligible through the years after you graduate from college, at least for a few years, and in some cases for longer. So this is a sequence. But let's think about, you want to be a researcher. Maybe you want to be eventually work in a college and have an academic career as a researcher in the arts or in STEM fields. As you develop that interest in your first year, explore how you can do research wherever you are. If you are in college, go to your courses. Think about where you can do an independent research project, participate in projects, inquire with your professor, to your professor, inquire of older students how they've got going with their research. As you go on, find out how you can become a research assistant to your professor. Identify the burning questions for you, the issues that really, really interest you, the problems that you really want to solve. Look for summer research internships that will give you hands-on experience. And going on, take steps to figure out what it would mean to be a researcher yourself, to have a career in research. Maybe take a research methods course in your field. Write up your research, because one of the things about researchers is you don't just get to do it. Your ideas and how you disseminate those ideas are really important and consequential. So practice giving presentations, practice writing up your research, give a TED Talk, submit a manuscript for a publication, write for your school newspaper or scientific journal, apply for competitive fellowship opportunities. And as you approach the time when you can apply, work with faculty and your research advisors to develop your materials. A series of essays, yes, but if research is your end, there's likely to be a detailed research proposal as well. So get people to read your essays, talk with you about your ideas, and really refine something that will, if you go ahead and do it and are successful, have a big impact. Be original. So this is one pathway to being a research. It might lead you to awards like the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship, which you can apply for first as a senior, or it might be to a UK fellowship or the Dodd Study Scholarship in Germany, or a Research Fulbright Award. Lots of paths for different people, but all connected by research.
Maybe research isn't quite your thing, but you're the kind of person who wants to who looks out into the world and who sees an area where you see a need for change. Maybe it has to do with injustices you see that are happening in society or something else. If you are that, have that kind of goal, then you might want to consider how you can develop yourself to be attractive to foundations that support people who want to do those types of things. So to start, you might want to, as you're early in your college career or late in your college career, as Margaret said, wherever you are, but in your initial steps of thinking about it, do some exploration, explore some clubs and activities where people have interests like yours, and see what's happening. Get a context for the area in which you want to make a change. If you're on a college campus, you could learn how change is made through student government. You could learn how change is made through interacting with senior staff and administrators on campus. You can participate in projects that other people are doing to get the lay of the land, and talk with some older peers on the campus to find out how they've gone about making an impact on the campus. You might identify a place on campus in particular, or in the community around the college or elsewhere in the world where you see a need for change, and think about how you can organize, instigate, collaborate with others in order to get some partners in the mission, in the initiative that you want to do. If you want to have an impact nationally or internationally, globally, eventually in your career, you'll want to inform yourself of the big picture about the issue that interests you. Be reading national news, learn what's going on, what leaders in the world are doing. To develop your ability to persuade other people to join in your mission, you might write for the campus newspaper, or do a TED Talk, or talk before groups of people on campus to gather others who might join you in your mission. Another aspect of leadership that people don't always think about when they think about what a foundation might value is persistence. Foundations aren't necessarily looking for leaders who always succeed. They're looking for leaders who persist and who will continue to work on a problem and try to find solutions and gather collaborators, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. When you get to the point where you're actually applying for a fellowship that values leadership, such as the Truman Scholarship or the Rhodes Scholarship or the Gates-Cambridge Scholarship, you'll need help, likely, to learn to articulate how you are as a leader and what you've done as a leader, and to be able to describe and depict for the foundations what you've done. Again, you can lean on your fellowship advisors to help you do this, and to be able to articulate all the things that demonstrate to them that you have these leadership qualities.
You might also see yourself as somebody who is an explorer, somebody who might get really sort of energized by pushing the boundaries, pioneering something, innovating, going places that are way outside of your comfort zone. So with our little pair character here, we might think about how being an explorer and being inspired by fellowships can lead you places that you didn't expect you could go. So I'm thinking about awards like the Boren Scholarship, the Luce Scholarship, the Fulbright U.S. Student Program grants. These kinds of opportunities exist for you. And so we might take a generalized pathway, thinking about yourself as an explorer. How could I get there? Well, one would be sort of building some cross-cultural literacy by adding a language to yourself. Most students who come to our colleges already have sort of languages behind them. And then certainly I know a lot of our colleges have language requirements. And if you have interest in those, assess where you're at and see if you can get better at them, and how you can get better at them. You can take classes, you can join clubs, you can, a lot of times you might be lucky to find people whose native language is that language you're trying to get better at in school. So talk with them. So you want to build a plan to improve. Again, there's all kinds of opportunities at our colleges, especially the residential colleges, clubs and activities that sort of allow you to explore culture and custom and other kinds of ways to build a literacy about this place and these customs. And then, of course, you're going to have folks on campus who are either from those places, or perhaps they're people who have gone abroad to those places. So get to know them, talk to them about their experiences, learn from them. This is a great way to build a network. And of course, networking skills are going to be useful for you in all kinds of ways. Maybe your next year, the next sequence, next piece of the sequence would be to identify a place in the world where you want to study or do more, internship-like work, where you can develop a sense of what it means to be there and do stuff while you're there. Learn more about it. Find opportunities to use the language within that country, outside of school. Speak professionally if you can. Teach the language to speak, teach English to speakers of that language and have them teach you their language. And of course, be a really good student. Develop cultural literacy by reading their newspapers, their magazines, watching their news programs, listening to their radio. And then, taking advantage of networks wherever you can find them. Build a list of potential contacts in that place. Because if you're lucky and you get a chance to go study abroad in that place the next year, maybe you can enlarge your network of contacts by actually reaching out to those folks while you're there. See what's available to you through your study abroad offices while you're in country. Are there opportunities to volunteer? Are there opportunities to get involved in the community? Are there opportunities to do research while you're in that place with professors who might be there? And when you're abroad, take something on that is going to challenge you. You might want to be an explorer and see another place, but wouldn't it be something if you can do something in that place that you never thought you could do while you're there? And then make plans to get back in touch with those folks when you come back to the United States, and see if you can maybe come back there. And the final step would be applying for a fellowship opportunity that might get a chance to get you back to that place to do something really, really meaningful and impactful for your life. So your next steps, reach out to us. Fellowships advisors here are here to help you think about not just how awards can help you achieve your goals, but actually to give you feedback on your own life plan, your own life design.
So we look forward to talking with you. Our websites will give you information about how to contact us and make appointments to talk with each of us. And we look forward to that.
We sure do. You can learn, as Margaret said, about all of us on our websites and how to reach us. Remember that your first application for a competitive fellowship is a test run to realize your plans, and we're here to help you do that. Thanks for listening.